happened. I tried to whistleblow, and this was my punishment. They fired me. And I will tell you how I tried to whistleblow, because it involves Russia. So it's a little bit of a spy story, ladies and gentlemen. It's fucking great, this fucking story, I'll tell you. It's one of the greatest stories that you will ever fucking hear about in our modern age. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back at it, another video. Let's see what the fuck this is, man. Let's see how this is gonna go. Went to a place, or on the inside, less people. Way too much people yesterday on the other place, man. Way too much people on the other side. You know, they say that for you to become branded is the worst thing that could ever become. You know, the worst thing that could actually happen to you. You see, when we were smaller, to be bullied, I was never bullied, but I never did bully either. Most of the time, actually, we were friends just bullying each other, meaning we actually did bully each other, but we're foreigners, we're Muslims, we're cultural. So it's never bully, you see, we just bully. It's the way we talk, it's the way we communicate, it's the way we make jokes, it's the way we think, is that we're all just raised upon just a form factor where we are a little bit, you know, tougher. We're tough guys. So when we were smaller, when we were younger, you know, we were always just bullying each other, always continuously bullying each other. That's the way we made jokes, we made everybody else laugh. So at some point, you see, everybody had their moment when somebody else was being laughed at. At some point, you see, nobody can actually make you emotionally, nobody can attack you emotionally. Well, we don't think like that. So to become branded, therefore, you see, sometimes, as you can see when I'm talking here, I almost brand myself. It's like I give myself, you know, a certain terminology that could be, for some people, shameful to even say about themselves. It's all about context, it's all about who you are, right? It's all about who's actually saying something. But you see, in this day and age, to become branded, especially as a country, as a people who don't have what we have, that which is culture, is at some point just complete fucking destruction for everything that is you. I mean, at some point there is no more you. You have to change. You have to think about your changes. You have to start looping. Now, what am I talking about is in brand. Who am I talking about? Well, you know that on my website, swedishcomedy.com/law, I'm presenting something. I'm presenting that which is a whistleblowing operation. Well, it's an operation because I've done something that is, well, only an engineer can understand. Only a comedian can understand. Only a philosopher can actually understand. You see, it's not about one person understanding, it's about ensuring everybody who reads it understands. So once you read it and you understand one thing, is that I caught myself a big fucking fish. I caught myself that which is the pike. The pike has always been considered to be, you know, in Sweden, the pike is famous. In a certain sense, pedophiles in Sweden are called gädda. They are pikes, meaning we catch them. And I caught myself a couple of pedophiles. I will tell you how. I will tell you all about it, ladies and gentlemen. You see, the presentation of my website is me branding them. Meaning, they try to lure in that which is the waters, where everybody has their time of enjoyment. And there is the pike. You know. I alla fall. So you see, the pike itself just continuously wants to disrupt. The disruption comes through that which is just his normal behaviorism. At some point, somebody catches a pike, makes him into that which is a loser. For you see, to be caught being something that is a pedophile is a loser moment. Many people in Sweden have those moments. We have this website where it's called dumpen.se. At some point, you see, it's like one of the, it's like premium established scientific work that is happening in regards to who are the biggest threat to society. Like, how do you kill a society off in each and every single regard that builds a society? Sociology, economics, history, industry, police work, politics. It is to ensure or allow pedophiles to roam free within the organization. You know what pedophiles do? They're psychopaths. There's something mentally wrong with them, literally. So what they will do, and what they will ensure that they always continue to do, is to destroy the organization without anybody realizing it, because they don't even realize it. It's a sickness. They have a sickness. And they don't even realize how they actually destroy something. It's a pike, it's a pedophile, understand? Once you catch yourself one of those losers, because the pedophile, I didn't catch myself pedophiles, if you understand? It's a metaphor. But let's go back to that, which is the branding, because at some point when you catch yourself a big fish, you catch it. And a pike is always being used in Sweden as the catch. And there is a metaphor over here. If you catch somebody, I caught myself a pedophile. Then the fact that they have a lot of pedophiles and destroy society, meaning the greatest threat to society are actually pedophiles, literally, and nothing else. That is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. My throat, man, I'm sometimes I've been having throat issues, sort of sore throat, so my tone gets a little bit high. So in any case, let's proceed with the branding. You see, the branding itself is the greatest fucking shame that a man can have. You see, your culture, your history, that which is you, is not accustomed to being branded. You don't brand yourself. You don't indulge in that which is sharing of communication, sharing of experience, sharing of culture, right? The Swedes are famous for this, that they hide themselves behind a mask. They're very, very famous for this, especially the Swedish males. And this is where we come into that, which is the bit theory. At some point, you see, all of Sweden said, trust the Swedish man to sustain as a man. He did not sustain. So at some point, you see, sustainability in Sweden is also one of the greatest, biggest lies. For nothing is sustained. So what they will do is that instead they will roam around in Sweden, parasite. I mean, they will actually apply the technology or the behaviorism of a parasite. At that point, they will actually tell everybody we're now sustaining by using words, verbally trying to manifest it into reality. It's manipulations. It's how a pedophile functions. So let's proceed into that, which is the brand. You see, what I did, I caught myself, not a pedophile per se. I don't know who I caught, but I caught myself an organization, a plot. Now, a lot of people ask, well, what is the plot in regards to? Well, my website states it quite clearly. It's a brain-machine interface. It's a brain-machine interface that has been active in Sweden the last 15 years. The last 15 years they have done something in their own society against me, which they now try to escape. While trying to escape, they've left so much evidence to the point it's self-evident. Do you understand? Meaning everything is traceable, everything is documented, everything is proof in court, everything is just objective. I have removed that which is the subjective experience, the subjective interpretation of what a thing is or can become. Now, how do I do that? Now, it's like you're gonna present information and you know the behaviorism in relation to your opposite. It's game theory, right? Yeah. So I have to win against society at some point. Well, at some point you understand what a brain-machine interface is. A brain-machine interface, ladies and gentlemen, is the establishment between a man and a machine. Communication, and not necessarily by using wires, using chips, using some type of implementation of a synthetic technology within your human biology. Instead, it can also be something that is completely wireless. They're not using anything else besides waves. Brain waves are also wireless information. We just have a brain. But the output of that brain, how we actually produce information neurologically, can therefore become extracted. My website will tell you all about this. I will not dwell too much within the technology itself. I will instead use philosophy to describe something here. I think philosophy is much better. Why? Because everybody can connect to philosophy. Everybody can understand philosophy. At some point, if you implement technology within philosophy, boom, you're doing something very, very big. And that's why my website is very, very important, because it explains something very, very important to everybody. I called myself a pike. And this pike just happened to be within society. Meaning, it's not a pedophile as these pedophiles who roam free on dumpen.se. They happen to be in each and every single instance of society, each and every single entity that formulates a functioning society, as they so proclaim. We're a functioning society, they so proclaim. I would counter-argue that. Well, at some point, you see, I have the truth about what you have done the last 8 years. I know who you are. I know what you have tried to do, proclaim who you are, and I know what you have become. And once you have become what you are, you try to put another mask on top of that really already established mask that you have. Well, it's not a mask from the beginning. It's the personality. They're a little bit drawn back. They don't like to give out too much. No problem with that. We're all different. You see, I'm not attacking the Aryan race or something like that. Who am I to attack the Aryan race? You know who the Aryans are. Well, the Aryans are Aryans. We gotta be quiet. Let's put a silent moment for Aryan. So that's how you show respect to the Aryan. You become quiet. Or that's how you mock Aryan, because the moment you have a silent moment is when somebody is dead. You see, that's what comedians do. We love to mock each other, we love to bully each other, we love to brand each other. But the Aryans will never be able to handle this, because the Aryan can't handle a brand of himself. It's something that is within his psyche. He is the best. So what I did on my website, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I started to, therefore, implement a certain way to demonstrate information. How to display the truth, how to tell of the truth, how to illustrate of the truth to the point where not even a 5-year-old will be able to reject what is going on. They will be able to understand based upon reading it. SwedishComedy.com, by the way, that's where you read about this. A brain-machine interface that was established many, many years ago, to the point where the surveillance is part of it. I don't know how many years it actually stretches back, but I do know that the BMI started many years ago. We're talking 10 plus years where I've been kept in a concentration camp, been enforced to endure a lot of torture for the sake of Swedish people who are as deluded as they can be, as deluded as they have become, to the point where they verbally state sustainability with a very loud voice, to the point where nobody else is allowed to say anything to keep that which is the mass psychosis sustained. You see, at some point you don't need to do a lot to become disruptive in society, therefore. Well, at some point the truth is the truth. A little bit of objectivity, it becomes war against all that which is subjective. Because objectivity is objectivity. If you're upholding or withholding, if the way you orient yourself around the world is through only subjectivity, manifestations, manipulations, delusions, if that is the only thing that you do in society, at some point just a little bit of objectivity will fucking destroy everything in your society. Because you have built something into society. Everybody must listen to my perspective, the Aryan. Come on, we all understand this. Let's have another silent moment of respect for the Aryan. Now we're still having a silent moment of like rest in peace to the area. So what does this mean, ladies and gentlemen? What am I like on my website? What am I actually explaining here? Well, at some point you understand what I'm talking about. It states it quite clearly. My employer, Volvo, my employer, Quokka, a big technical company in Gothenburg, which is using a lot of the way they conduct business nowadays is through corruption. So it's a corrupt company, meaning they are not as good as they proclaim they are. Instead, there are people who are within that which is the established order in Gothenburg who has perpetrated these crimes against humanity, who give out favors. So it's not really a good technical company. They have instead grown because of corruption, so they're going down. This story is also going down. Volvo, Sweden's biggest employer, has within their own locales, meaning in their own facilities, have had an established brain-machine interface. Literally. Like, it's an established brain-machine interface. Now, I want to tell you something. It's not a brain-machine interface where it's only me and a machine by wireless means. You cannot do that as of yet. You cannot just localize somebody and only send out signals to that single person. It's not possible as of yet. So what they do instead, they have done something that's at some point, you see, Sweden is no longer for the people. It's for everybody else who wants to abuse Sweden. Everybody abuses Sweden, so Sweden is no longer Sweden. I will tell you how. So the brain-machine interface is literally something they have done publicly. Meaning, they don't send out the signals local to me. They send it out to everybody. A signal is a signal. We're not talking about communication. That's not what they do. They torture. They go by that which are different techniques of reinforcement, reward, conditioning, punishment. They go by that which is a classic dualistic philosophy of how to see humans. And the Aryans are very good at it, right? Very, very good. They did 6 million Jews, kibosh, of this one single way of perceiving humanity. That's why we spit on them, these fucking Aryans, at some point. Like, you don't fucking give up on what the fuck you do continuously through your fucking changes. You're consistent. You're fucking consistent. Even when you wear a rainbow, you're still a fucking Nazi. That's what they fucking did. They killed off Volvo. Kibosh. There is no more fucking Volvo after this thing comes out. What else do we have? We have that which is the Bar Association. You see, I should have protection by a lawyer who actually sees all my proof and acts upon it. Now, not a single lawyer, even when I offer them money before I even meet them. So you see, lawyers are lawyers, right? In Sweden, we are all poor nowadays, except for a few, you know, we're not gonna mention them. At some point, we're becoming both anti-Aryan and anti-Semitic at the same time. Too much weirdness in one video. Let's proceed with the Aryan first. So you see, what happened, therefore, is that all this criminal activity that's ongoing in public. You see, Volvo is not just the one company with a bunch of 10 Swedish employees. We're talking hundreds of employees from all over the world. Indians, Koreans, Germans, Austrians, Finnish, Norwegians, Arabs, Kurdish, Pakistanis, all aware of a certain torture that happened in their own established facility where they proclaim that they are building the future. You see, I was an engineer within electromobility. Before that, I was an engineer within the paper industry, and before that, the oil industry. So I'm an engineer in many ways. I'm also an engineer in FDM, meaning 3D printing and whatnot. So my career stretches through different disciplines, different conglomerates, different companies where they all have a leading role within their own specific discipline, so to speak. So Volvo therefore did something where they will die out eventually, because a torture program is a torture program. You see, the brain-machine interface is not just neurological communication. As I told you, they use torture, because the Aryans always have used torture in how to conduct experiments, conduct that which is research, as they so proclaim. These people, I've told you, like, they're fucking crazy at some point, you see. Because not only do they do it, they verbally express it as if it is subjectively something else. And then they manipulate everybody to believe in that, and whoever doesn't believe becomes excluded. You understand? At some point, who is left? People of intelligence who do not give a fuck about this fucking little game which we call influence, instead puts that which we call the penis inside his fucking Swedish fucking asshole. At some point, China and the Chinese will own 100% of Volvo Trucks, as they now own 100% of Volvo cars. When we were small and somebody told a Swedish man, hey, you are non-branded Aryan, in the future, in 15 years, the Chinese will own your father's company called Volvo Cars. He would laugh at you, and he would walk around all of Sweden telling everybody about this good joke that I said. Now they're owned by the Chinese, and they are verbally rationalizing it as if it's just a normal day. You see, behind his mask, there is a lot of suffering going on with the Aryan, a lot of suffering. That suffering is just death to humanity. Death to humanity, that's what it is. So you see, what they did was that they got an operation going on here in Sweden where we were all supposed to be silent about it. That's why no lawyer is allowed to talk to me. No lawyer is allowed to take my money. So I have a lot of money, because I've been working for a long time. So I have a lot of money, right? Take my money, lawyer. Take my money. Take my money. I don't even need to see you right now. See you in a week. I will bring all the proof to you. Like, I'm not talking about the proof in regards to brain-machine interface. No. Go to my website and you will see actually what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that in relation to brain-machine interface, they have tried to isolate me from society. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Bob. They've been trying to isolate me. By trying to do so, they failed. And everything they have done is just leave evidence. Volvo has left evidence. Quokka has left evidence. The Bar Association, based upon statistical mathematics, as calculation of statistics in regards to probability and impossibility, they have left evidence. The tax office, the IRS, has left evidence. The police have left evidence. Who do we have? SOS 112, meaning 911, has left evidence. Who do we have? We have a bunch of others. Let's see, actually. I have my telephone. Why am I not watching it? Fucking stupid am I? No. Sometimes I'm also an Aryan. I forget about what I actually do, and then I go and talk about as if I'm smart. But sometimes it's good to remember that you don't always have your memories in hand. A bank. They also destroy the banking industry. And journalists are involved. And the court system is involved. So let me just go through them a little bit, just to summarize you. I will tell you, I will go back to that, which is the brand of this death to our humanity, the Aryan. All right, so Quokka illegally fired me based upon an order from Volvo, right? Where a brain-machine interface was ongoing in front of the whole world. Now they will be owned by the Chinese in the future, and he will still blame somebody else besides himself. Because you see, the Aryan, there is something about the Aryan where they are the best continuously. They're always the best. They're white. They're white people. How can they not be the best? Now we have a Muslim in Sweden who I don't proclaim myself to be the best. But I will tell you about the Aryan to the point where you will see, the branding is true. Yes, sir. We'll come back to it. The Union. Oh yeah, that's right. The Union. It's called actually the Union. It's a union in Sweden. They call it the Union. So you see, you cannot just fire somebody. In Sweden, Sweden is based upon protection of the worker. We're socialists. The worker is very, very, very important as a cultural phenomena in Sweden. And it sure is. And the protection sure is great. You cannot fire anybody. I was senior within the company, one of the best engineers within the company. I was leading one of the components building the battery of our future. You understand? So you can't just fire me unless there's something wrong. Something happened. I tried to whistleblow, and this was my punishment. They fired me. And I will tell you how I tried to whistleblow, because it involves Russia. So it's a little bit of a spy story, ladies and gentlemen. It's fucking great, this fucking story, I'll tell you. It's one of the greatest stories that you will ever fucking hear about in our modern age. No, follow along here. The tax office. You know what they did? They literally unregistered me as a citizen in Sweden and moved me to America. How? And then they made a tax audit, and it's a paradox, because in the one investigation in regards to my address and my citizenship, they say that we cannot find you in Sweden. If you're not found in Sweden, we assume your latest known position, which is in America for some reason. I had no idea. They had received an anonymous tip that I was in America. What the fuck? But at the same time, the same office, the same government entity is making a tax audit, confirming the fact that I work and live in Sweden. A paradox is, obvious. And this is the stupidity of the Aryan when he documents himself. Much like he did when he killed off 6 million Jews, by the way. Much like he did when he killed off 6 million Jews, the Aryan. We do not fail to remind him of his previous crimes in relation to his current crimes. Because they're criminals, these people who rule Sweden. They are literally criminals. And there are a bunch of other criminals, I will tell you, who are supposed to be anti-criminals. Who are the anti-criminals in society? The police. And they are nowadays the biggest criminals in Sweden. I will tell you all about it. A banking. You see, you cannot just close somebody's bank account. Another thing, socialism, money, workers. It's meaning we have a lot of protection in regards to our upholding a certain, standard. Nobody's allowed to be without a bank account. They just fucking closed it without any reason whatsoever. Everything documented. So up until now, you see, the words I'm just uttering are not just words. Well, I'm uttering these words because I'm citing proof. I have documentation on my website that specifies and creates a timeline where everybody is able to understand one thing. Even a 5-year-old will be able to understand one thing. What the fuck did you do to your country, Swedish male of that which is our... Well, I lacked the concept of describing the Aryan at this point. So journalists, you see, this is a lot of criminal activity. If I send all of this documentation to journalists, they must, you see, another one thing about this is that you're not allowed to take the side of the government in any way, form or shape, in any context, even when it's in regards to military secrets, which a brain-machine interface automatically is. You see, the Swedes are very radar, sonar, surveillance, telecom, communications, the infrastructure. They have that which is Ericsson, they have that which is Saab, they have that which is the Swedish military, they have access to certain technology, so they can actually establish a certain brain-machine interface wirelessly. That's why I'm part of this fucking, I don't know what to call it. Let's just call it brain-machine interface, BMI for now. So you see, the journalists have a requirement to report on criminal activities in relation to government entities. They have a requirement. They're not allowed to take a side here. And by not taking a side, it's a story based upon objectivity and measurement of that which is our, how we actually produce articles. Meaning, I read each and every single day an article which do not measure against my case. So, you see, on my website, we can exclude the BMI and we still have a lot of criminal activities. That's the fucking thing about it, you understand? Meaning, we can exclude the BMI and we still have a lot of criminal activities. That's the fucking thing about it. So journalists completely fucking failed. Because at some point you're supposed to write about what's happening. Otherwise you're in on it. And then we have literally a conspiracy that is ongoing in Sweden, where government, industry, journalists, academics, what do we have more? Everybody's involved in a conspiracy where it was a murder attempt that happened at Camp X, as it's called. Camp X is the facility, it's the name of the facility where we engineer the future. So engineering the future in the context of an Aryan, remember the concentration camps where they were engineering the Third Reich? Then they killed off 6 million Jews. Yes. Now this time they proclaim to engineer the future in regards to electromobility. And then they used electromobility to commit another murder attempt. This time they failed because I did not bleed out. And that's when we come to 911, what they did in regards to this murder attempt. Then we have doctors who have a certain responsibility in regards to what I report to them, to actually do that which is a doctor must do. I mean, a doctor is a doctor. You're not allowed to take sides. If a man tells you, I'm depressed. If a man tells you, I've hit the wall. You see, if there is objective proof to it, you must act upon that objective proof. You're not allowed to take a side. If you reject the objective proof, then you're automatically part of a conspiracy, ladies and gentlemen. You see, once you build a timeline, once you build the linear structure, once you build that which is for everybody to just follow along, the ladder, so to speak, then you can just do a lot of fucking great things with that which is his own documentation. You see, the Aryan is great at documenting his own crimes, as we all remember from school when we learned about how they killed off 6 million Jews. So let's proceed. His justice system, tingsrätten, hovrätten, högsta domstolen, fucking kibosh, death to all of society. Because if you allow a conspiracy to connect itself to that which is your justice system, well, there is no more law and order, ladies and gentlemen. There is only that which is, how do I verbally express and manifest something that rationalizes my behaviorism, the behaviorism of the collective, the society. And then we come into that which is the MK Ultra. And that's, man, we'll get into it. Too many things to go through right now. Let's go back to that which formulates his brand. So the police, of course, are involved. I have a lot of documentation which I'm going to. That's my next step of documenting everything on my website, is to give you indication what the police does, to isolate me even more from society, try to trigger me to do something bad. So they actually did something. Well, you see me recording, you see me talking, yeah. This is about my tone that I have. This is about the behaviors I do. So I was in the gym, okay. All of a sudden, this is a couple of weeks ago. So you see, once I was closing in on the whistleblowing, meaning my website was about to be launched, all the information was about to be uploaded. I was about to, do the whistleblowing, meaning emailing everybody. They did one thing, and they tried this one thing. All of a sudden in the gym, a Swedish man, a very big man, like a fucking muscular bodybuilder, approaches me. Starts to talk to me in an unregulated pattern, meaning making no sense whatsoever. You see, my conversation is my conversation. The tone is my tone, you see. Nobody can just proclaim that you're saying something else, unless you're Aryan. Because then you have that which is, well, I'm white. I can say whatever I want, and it holds rightness. It holds, it holds correctness. It holds that which is truth in reality. It does not matter, what's happening. If I say it, it is what it is. That's why they killed off 6 million Jews. So you see, what they did there was to approach me, try to trigger me. So this man approached me, got into my face, like so, just like about so, boom, boom, headshot. No boom, headshot. Did not touch him. So he tried to trigger me for about 5 minutes, started to stalk me, talk to me, trying to continuously just tell me, hit me, hit me, hit me. Because you see, I'm not a small guy either. I'm not a small guy. I think I'm 6'3" in American standard, 191 centimeters. My beard, One would say that I'm a Viking. I don't think the Vikings have this type of beard. You know, fucking, I know my shit, you understand? I don't need to hit somebody, you understand? I don't need to hit somebody. I've gone through plenty of fights when I was younger. After that, you grow up, you don't fight anymore. You go to school, you become an engineer, and you try to fucking do something upon this planet. And you try not to commit murder as if you were an Aryan 80 years ago and did concentration camp and killed off many 6 million Jews. That's very important. We try not to do that in life. We try not to do that. They did that thing. They did that thing where they actually did the one thing that the Aryans did in the concentration camps. They thought themselves that they were worthy enough to research on humans, experiment on humans, and then kill off humans by just doing a lot of violations of human rights. They have just, you see, so Sweden is no longer Sweden. And I will tell you how society accepts Sweden as is. It's called MK Ultra. We will go into that. So the justice system is completely corrupt. Because you see, we exclude the BMI, right? Once again, still we exclude the BMI. No brain-machine interface is included in anything and everything I document. This is very important. We only have isolated events which are criminal activities per se. It's not the connection, it's not the pattern that makes it into a conspiracy. Well, it's the documentation, the objective proof. At some point they just connect each other because they're all, it's Sweden. We don't have 51 states or what the fuck ever it is. We have one single country where the whole fucking country population is about 30% of what New York is. You know what that means? Everybody know each other. Everybody know what's going on. So they do a concentration camp. They do neurothievery. They do torture. Okay, they do Nazi. They do murder attempt. And still they sustain as a government. Come on. Anybody who has read up upon psychology, that which is manipulation, know one thing. When it comes to conversion of facts in regards to mass behaviorism, implementing a mass psychosis, we're dealing with MK Ultra shit. You see, I will tell you my story, because being part of a BMI means that you yourself are suffering a little bit of that MK Ultra, a little bit of MK Ultra. But I will tell you my fucking side of the story. And I will show you how I was never fucking, I was never really manipulated in that context. And that's why, I am who I am. I can talk the way I talk. Because once you sustain, you're truly sustained. And you don't need to fucking walk around here and tell everybody that you're sustained. Oh, they sustained as fucking Nazis, ladies and gentlemen. They sustained as fucking Nazis. So then they, the police have been doing, this one scenario, this one thing that happened in the gym. This guy tried to trigger me, this big guy, tried to trigger me to hit him. It was quite obvious. Well, it was not obvious at that moment, but then afterwards I realized, what the fuck just happened? Well, something happened, and he was just trying to trigger me to hit him. Assault. Assault means prison. Bam, you go into prison. Understand? Once you're about to launch a whistleblowing, put him in prison and the whistleblowing does not happen. While he's in prison, torture him even more. Make him seem crazy. That's what they do. If they make you seem crazy, well, then you've lost. That's why documentation is very important. That's why documentation in regards to how to present information is very important. That's why my website is very important. It shows you one thing. Even if we exclude the BMI, we have that which is a conspiracy. And then we need to ask ourselves, who the fuck is this guy worthy of a conspiracy? Nobody's worthy of a conspiracy, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody. Meaning, at some point, if I add the word BMI, it is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Or gentle hen, as we say in Sweden. They use hen as a non-binary term. I've been bullying them a lot in regards to that terminology. They don't receive bullying. You see, when we were younger, we could fucking, call each other whatever we wanted. We knew how to formulate, a certain culturally correct context. The Swedes, when they try out this thing of ours, this cultural thing, it fails continuously. It's very machine-like. It's very linear. That's why computers and Swedes, they go hand in hand. Sometimes when I pun, I pun. Sometimes when I try not to pun, I still fucking pun while I'm not punning either. It is so non-binary to the point where let's proceed in that which is his next fucking pun, ladies and gentlemen. You know what his next pun is? Well, go on my fucking website, ladies and gentlemen. Go on my fucking website and you will see something. I branded this piece of shit, this Aryan. He called himself Aryan. He's gonna proceed in life as an Aryan. Yeah, well, fucking proceed in life, you piece of shit. But motherfucker, I caught you and I branded you with the biggest fucking letter a loser can have. Bam! Big L. Big fucking loser, mate. That's what I fucking did to these fucking people, man. At some point, you see, being tortured is being tortured. Being able to hit back on your torturers by that which is just beauty in regards to, what is it called? Art. You see, linear people don't know how to make art happen. They hate that. That's why they love computers and AI. Yes, now I don't need to compete with other people who know how to produce real art. Now I can rely on AI, and you have to rely on AI. That makes us even. So you see, this website and the things I do is that I create something. I don't only document, I create something. Well, it's pedagogics 101, ladies and gentlemen. It's like, how do you actually make people understand? At some point, you see, I have a philosophy. I'm an engineer. I can be over technical. I can be too technical to the point where they lose themselves. People lose themselves who read about this. Documentation is documentation. Law and order sustains. You cannot reformat it. You cannot explain it any other way. But you can add something to it, something that is a guide, a story. And the story itself is very beautiful. Is that this fucking piece of shit, they always torture and proclaim themselves to be best upon this planet. They always kill off people and proclaim that they have the right to do so. These people have fucking got to fucking change. You have to regulate them. And that's what I'm about to do. Well, whistleblowing means only one thing. Regulation is about to happen. So the big L is his brand. And I find a certain language of how to explain it, where I mix in, well, not that I mix in, where I take his letter, his brand, and I tell you, look, you've always been branded the big L, the big loser throughout time. It's just that you have never realized it. I'm here to summarize it for you. So that now at times when you proceed in life, Aryan, you will know one thing. Well, you're the Aryan, the biggest loser that we ever have on this planet throughout our time. Like, throughout history of time, the Aryan is the biggest fucking loser. Go on my fucking website and check this fucking information out. SwedishComedy.com, ladies and gentlemen.